Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, in the world of boxing, right, it's things going on a little bit, but it's kind of slow. And let's be honest. I'm going to be honest to you. Somebody who talks a little boxing from time to time, there's not much to look forward to in boxing right now, especially men's boxing, right? In fights where every time we get close to undisputed, we can't get it. We never can get it. People don't even really want it, or at least the media tell you that the consumer doesn't even want this undisputed fight to find out who the best. And every time someone has a title, we're trying to figure out who he didn't fight, and why the fighter you like shouldn't fight another champion, right? I think we'd rather just call people the best. Every single time we talk about who the best is and can they fight, it goes directly to why they shouldn't fight and who he shouldn't fight. Total opposites of fans of every other sport. And it's really weird. But it's mostly motivated by sinister things, unfortunately. So you don't have much to look forward to. I'm not getting any undisputed fights. Now, I'm looking forward to Jamel Charlo and Castano. I think that's going to be a good fight. Castano has showed everybody how good he is. For those who didn't know, now you do. So that's going to be a good fight. And it's going to be for undisputed. It makes it significant. We have a unification with Spence and Ugas eventually. That might get my juices flowing a little bit. So, but other than that, I don't have that. In the heavyweight division, we know we're not going to even get undisputed with Usyk and your boy Tyson Fury. Other stuff going to happen. Fury versus Dillian White, but Dillian White might not fight. Not even Dillian White. And I don't want to see that anyway. I like to see Dillian White, Luis Ortiz. It's really, really nothing. We go lightweight, where it's an obvious undisputed fight right there. Boom, Kambosos versus Haney, undisputed, no dispute anymore. But no one wants to see that because, basically the industry is built to make sure that Haney doesn't even get a shot any kind of way possible, right? And everybody's with it, especially people who have sinister reasons. It's obvious. Hey, man, we got a fool that made some kind of new belt protecting Canelo, and now he's just making. Now everybody's confused, and he doesn't even want to just say, hey, you know something? I could stop the confusion by ordering Haney and Kambosos to make sure it's undisputed, and would throw this franchise stuff out of the business. It was basically for Canelo. But anyway, I'm going too far. The bottom line is it's not nothing to look for, except like in women's boxing. I'm going to tell you now. Your girl, Clarissa Shields, she's going to fight this weekend against a good girl, 24-0, right? Kuzin, right? And Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall's going to fight on March the 12th, I think it is. Right around there, middle March. After that, we're going to have something to really look forward to, because Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall is something to get your juices flowing. It's a real huge fight, and I hope it happens, and I hope both of them don't hiccup on their way to the fight, and then you will see. And men's boxing needs to take note. Just have the damn fights already, because you can have 2 or 3. We keep getting deprived of close stuff. But anyway, speaking of deprived of stuff, I just did a video yesterday about Joseph Parker, a heavyweight contender who's 30-2 with 21 KOs, New Zealand, by way of New Zealand. Joseph Parker, I think, is the top 5 heavyweight. The 2 losses were controversial in England against Anthony Joshua and Dillian White, controversial in their own rights. I'm not going to get into it in this particular video, but the man is a pretty damn good fighter. Been in a couple of close fights. We were talking about yesterday the fact that, hey, he was, had a close fight when he won the WBO title a few years back, beating Andy Ruiz Jr. Now he wants to rematch Andy Ruiz Jr. because there's really nothing going on. Everybody at the very top is kind of tied up at the moment. That would be a big fight. But hey, he also had that IBF Eliminator fight with Hergovich. Didn't take that. So now we have another Eliminator for the WBO, right? Joseph Parker's number 2 in the WBO. Number 1 is Joyce. Joe the Juggernaut Joyce. Now this dude is 13-0, right? 12 KOs. Now he's 36 years old. Started late in the pro ranks, but let me tell you, his 13-0 is just like some of the guys that come from the Olympics and they go straight into hard fights, the Guillermo Rigondeaux of the world, the Lomachinkos and stuff like that, the David Morrells, who we can get right in with the best fighters in our division immediately. right? Those kind of fights. Joe Joyce hasn't had, from those 13 fights, he hasn't had any so-called, the ones that we call journeyman slash, something that rhymes with rum. I don't like to call them because all these boxers are good in my opinion. Even the ones that have negative records, they'll be the king of their neighborhoods. So they get love, but not any, upper echelon fighters. And with Joe Joyce, there's nothing on his record. He had one fighter on his fourth or fifth fight who had a 30-13 record. Other than that, ain't nobody lost more than 3 fights, right? And from the beginning, people were 4-1, 5-1, and 30-3, 24-3. He fought some pretty good fights. He's infamous for beating Daniel Dubois when everybody's talking about that's going to be the English Mike Tyson. He was undefeated at the time, 15-0. Juggernaut stopped him. Messed up his eye. He's beaten Brian Jennings, Kalatse. He was also somebody who beat Stavern like no other before Deontay Wilder did it to him. I'm not sure if he beat him before or after Deontay Wilder did it to them, but Stavern is somebody, it's somebody good on your resume. Especially the earlier you beat Stavern, the better. Because that's Stavern. See, a lot of people just getting into it say, Stavern, he was never nothing. Guess what y'all think? When Chris Arreola was all that, I'm talking about Chris Arreola only lost to Vitaly Klitschko, and I think he lost to my boy from Poland, who was a light heavyweight, cruiserweight, and heavyweight. It was a little bit too much for him. Can't think of his name right now, but I love this guy, even though I can't think of his name. Bad boy. And he beat, he schooled Chris Arreola a little bit. Polish guy, man, I can't think of, man, Adam, I forget his name. It's going to hit me, though. Anyway, so, but my man had beat some real good people. Now, so another thing about your boy, the Juggernaut, is the dude's resilient. He's got great stamina, right? He's going to be coming forward, throwing punches, and a whole lot of them. He's never going to stop, right? It's like a Terminator right in front of him. He's just never going to stop, right? So, my point here is for someone to stop a guy like that, you're going to have a great day. Even to Joseph Parker, I think Joseph Parker is the better boxer between these two. No doubt about it. But the Juggernaut's about 6'6", 250, 260. And he's never going to stop. I used to feel this way with Adam Kanauki, another Polish guy, right? Adamic, right? Adamic. That was the boy's name, Adamic. And Adamic beat up old boy Chris Arreola. But anyway, Kanauki, I was thinking the same thing. Kanauki throws a lot of punches and bunches, a lot of punches in the round. He's just going to keep coming. He got a good chin, right? All these things that your boy Joe Joyce had. Now, Kanauki was stopped by your boy Robert Helenius. So now it's a different thing with Kanauki. Somebody's going to have an exceptional day to beat Joe Joyce. Seriously. So, your boy Joseph Parker is going to need his stamina. And he's going to need exceptional stamina on this day. His stamina is pretty good to good, I would say, when you're talking Joseph Parker. But on this day, it's going to have to be exceptional. He's going to be having to use his feints. He's going to have to be using his legs. All right, his chin is going to be tested, right? And he's going to have to beat this guy for 12 rounds. You're going to have to put in a great performance. So I would have no problem whatsoever, right, of Joseph Parker challenging Joe Joyce for the WBO mandatory spot. Let's just put it what it is. It's WBO mandatory spot. The winner gets to fight Usyk whenever they get around to it. Same as the IBF, whenever he gets around to it, right? But this is a good fight in the heavyweight division. When you look in the other heavyweights, look, Otto Wallin, the guy, he had a good win, last win. The one before that, his loss, he's infamous for losing to Tyson Fury, but messing up Tyson Fury's eye, right? And he came back and he beat Dominic Breazeale, which everybody's not doing. You have to have a pretty good night to beat a Dominic Breazeale. So let's give it up for Otto Wallin, but he's about to fight somebody with an 11-24 record. That's the kind of stuff you do in your third and fourth fights. 11-24. Right now. If any of your top 7 people we talking about fight somebody with 11-24 right now, something's going to be wrong with them. Don't matter if you fight on the undercard of somebody else's fight. At some point, Otto Wallin, you're not going to be able to fight nobody 11-24. And then after that fight, be calling out the very best. You still got to fight somebody pretty decent. 11-24 ain't going to cut it. But that's the kind of thing people getting away with. So when we're talking Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker in the heavyweight division, damn it, it's a good fight. And both of them gonna have to be on their P's and Q's because these are two good fighters, differently good, but two good fighters. So if that fight would happen, it's gonna be a barn burner of a fight, and whoever come out of that is gonna have a very, very good night. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they can get this one over the line. If this one's gonna happen, I think this is a good fight for both fighters, right? Number one and number two in any sanctioning body. Most of the time it's gonna be a good fight. Let's see what happens. Doing Sports Talk Worldwide, and I'm about to here, y'all.